What's good, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Pull Up. I am Tony Ramsey, giving you a quick recap of last night's NBA action. Also, looking at tonight's slate of NBA games, let you know who I think is going to win and cover the spreads there. Some pretty exciting games last night. The Warriors pulled out a victory with Steph Curry dropping 51 on the Wizards. LeBron and the Lakers got their first victory of the season. And we also had some pretty controversial statements from former NBA Commissioner David Stern. We'll go ahead and jump in that now. So without any further delay, let's get into it. David Stern reportedly called Dale Demps a lousy general manager. If you recall, back in the late 2000s, the Hornets wanted to trade Chris Paul to the Lakers for Pau Gasol, I believe Lamar Odom, and some other pieces. That trade ended up getting vetoed by the NBA because the Hornets did not have an owner. And at the time, David Stern now says that the reason why he vetoed that trade was because there's no way you can trade a future Hall of Famer right after a lockout. That part of it I do understand. I still don't understand his meaning, his reasoning at the time, whereas the Hornets were still getting back some pretty decent pieces. Chris Paul was not planning to be there long term anyway, so why not get some pieces back? I feel the trade they ended up making to the Clippers for Eric Gordon, I believe it was Chris Kaman, and the draft pick, which ended up being Austin Rivers. None of those players are with the team anymore, so either way, that trade didn't work out as well. It just wasn't a good look for the NBA, for the Hornets at that time. Dale Demps is still the general manager and has made some pretty questionable decisions there, and Stern even thinks that they're going to lose Anthony Davis coming up either this summer or next summer in free agency next summer in free agency when he can leave in 2020. I personally think that Davis does jump ship. I don't think the Pelicans have enough stability to be good long term, which is what he really wants to be. If you're going to be the best player in the league, you have to play on the best teams, and sad to say, the Pelicans aren't going to be it. They are pretty good right now. They're undefeated. He's having a great start to the season, but I don't think they can sustain this long term. I think the furthest they would ever go would be the second round of the playoffs. So it probably will be time for Anthony Davis to jump ship here either next summer or the following summer when he can leave in free agency. Now, looking at last night's games, we had as I mentioned before, Steph Curry dropped 51 on the Wizards, where he hit 11 3-pointers. Final score of that game was 144 to 122. Some really high-scoring games early in the NBA season. A lot of reasons for that. People say there's no defense being played. I think it's more due to the fact that teams are now embracing shooting more three-pointers, playing at a faster pace. I believe you have something like 19 to 20 teams now averaging over 30 three-point attempts per game. That is crazy. But when you have that many three-point shots going up, the game is going to be sped up, longer rebounds, more fast breaks, which is going to lead to more scoring, which honestly is better for the fans. No one wants to sit around and watch a team a 92 to 89 score. I'd rather see teams score in the 120s, 130s because that puts most players' full offensive game on display, which is why most people watch the NBA. You do have a few lockdown defenders here and there, but no one's watching the NBA to see defense. They want to see players make great moves, hit tough shots. That's what the game is all about. So I'm all for all the high scoring. Also in this game, Kevin Durant dropped a quiet 30 points, if you can have a quiet 30 points, but when your teammates were going off for 51 points in only 32 minutes, he did not play the fourth quarter at all. It's kind of hard to overshadow that kind of performance from Steph Curry. So big game right there. The Warriors are now 4-1 this season. That drops the Wizards to, I believe, 1-3. Their only win being a road win over Portland in their previous game. You also had the Hawks and the Mavericks playing the second time this season. Hawks take that one 111 to 104 behind 32 points from Kent Bazemore. Nets over the Cavaliers 102 to 86. Not quite sure if anybody played well that game. I did not watch that game. I thought it was a pretty trash matchup, and it ended up being that way anyway. The Cavs are now 0-4. Heat over the Knicks 110 to 87. Hassan Whiteside came out the grave and dropped 22 points and 14 rebounds because the Knicks don't really have much size that can contend with them. But I wouldn't expect that to happen too many more times. Josh Richardson with a big 21 points there, hit 5 threes. Timberwolves dropped a road game to the Raptors 105 to 112. Kawhi Leonard had a pretty big one here. Let's see what he put up there. 35 points for Kawhi Leonard, 23 for Jimmy Butler in a losing effort. No Andrew Wiggins in this game, and Karl Anthony Towns, we're having that Towns-Butler watch in this game. 14 points, 8 boards, 5 of 17 shooting, 1 of 5 from threes. Not a good look for Cat. Bulls over the Hornets there. Zach LaVine had his fourth straight 30-point game. He scored 30 points in every single game this season so far. This one he put up 32 points. He did take 22 shots, but on that Bulls team, he's going to be able to take as many shots as he wants, and I think he will. I think he's going to be one of those players that's going to surprisingly finish in the top 5 to 10 in the league in scoring. He'll average more than 25 points per game easily if he can stay healthy. Another game there, the Jazz over the Rockets in Houston behind, I believe, 38 from Donovan Mitchell, snapped out of his shooting slump. But this was to be expected. I did pick Utah to win this game. They're now 2-2 in the year. Rockets are now 1-3. Donovan Mitchell was shooting pretty badly here, but without any Chris Paul, no one really to stop Donovan Mitchell from getting to the basket wherever he feels like it. This was bound to happen. So, no surprise there. Pacers over the Spurs in San Antonio, 116-96. That's a bit of a surprise. I did not see that one coming. Pacers did shoot the ball extremely well. 21 from Oladipo. They shot 53% from the floor, hit 17 threes, 17 out of 32 from threes. That is insane. In the loss, DeRozan with 18 for the Spurs. Bucks drop one on the road till the Bucks take a home game against the Sixers, 123-108. Joel Embiid did have 30 in this game, but Milwaukee was anchored by Giannis with 32, 18 boards, and 10 assists, 12-24 from the field. Philadelphia was actually up early in this game before Milwaukee just stepped on the gas in the second quarter and did not let up. JJ Redick in this game did put up 19 points. Ben Simmons did return to have triple-double, 14 points, 13 boards, 11 assists, and 30 and 19 for Joel Embiid. Markelle Fultz only had 5 points in the effort. And Lakers over the Suns, 131-113. The start here was, if you were watching the game, it was Lance Stevenson. He had a resurgence there with 23 points, 8 boards, and 8 assists. Did what he wanted. Lance to make him dance. You always heard that before. LeBron in this one with 19 points, 10 assists, 7 boards. Lonzo Ball had a pretty good game, 12 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. Josh Harden's starting lineup contributed a solid 15 points on 5 of 8 shooting and 4 of 6 from 3. I think he should be starting. They need to go ahead and move away from KCP in that starting lineup. He's not really that good to be starting, and Josh Hart he just always plays hard. You can just tell, and he has a lot of confidence going for him right now. So you need to go ahead and keep him in the starting lineup and see what happens. The real question there is going to be, what do they do with Rajon Rondo when he is back from that suspension? Do they start Lonzo Ball? Do they put Ball back on the bench? Personally, I think they should put Ball back on the bench. This way, he can come in with that second unit and keep things flowing when Rondo needs to get spelled. Devin Booker did leave this game with I believe it was a groin injury, or maybe it was a hamstring injury in, I believe, the third quarter there. In late games, we had the Grizzlies losing to the Kings, 97-92. Marcus Gasol exited with an injury here. Mike Conley did put up 27 points in that losing effort for the Kings. Buddy Hield with 23, De'Aaron Fox with 21, 8 and 6 assists. Pretty solid game there. Marvin Bagley with 13 and 6 boards off the bench. And that's going to do it for last night's NBA action. So tonight's schedule, we do have about 4 games on the agenda here. The Cavaliers visiting the Pistons. Pistons are 3-0. I think they can keep that going. They are favored by only 1 point, surprisingly. I'm going to go ahead and give this one to the Pistons. They will cover that 1 point. I think Blake Griffin continues to have a big start to the season. Trailblazers against the Magic in Orlando. Magic are 2-2. Portland is 2-1. Portland's favored by 3 points. I think Orlando takes this one here. I like Orlando's play at home. Aaron Gordon is playing with a ton of spunk. He does that usually at the start of the seasons. I don't know if he can keep it going for the long term, but I think he does keep it going here in the first month of the season, and I think they will cover that. I think Portland loses this one, so Orlando will cover that spread there. In the early TNT game, we have the Celtics visiting the winless Thunder in Oklahoma City. Celtics are 2-2. I think the Thunder find a way to get their first victory here behind a huge game from Paul George and Russell Westbrook, especially on the bright lights. I think Westbrook has one of those 40-point plus, 10 assist type games here against Kyrie Irving. And in the late game, we have the Nuggets going to Los Angeles. Nuggets are undefeated. I think LA will find a way to keep their winning streak going here. I think they win their second game of the season behind another big game from LeBron and company. It will be a high-scoring affair, of course, because Denver puts up points. The Lakers lead the league in fast break points, and neither team plays a ton of defense, so I expect this to be a very high-scoring affair. The Lakers are favored by 1 point. I think they do cover. I think they win by around 5 or 6. So that is today's episode. If you guys like this video, please make sure that you hit the like button down below. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned every day for another NBA recap. Again, this has been the Pull Up. I am Tony Ramsey. Let's catch you guys on the next one. Peace.